back again for another video. In this series, Top Picks, I'll be sharing 2 great options for each position for game week 7 to 9, one based on Fantasy Football Hub's predicted points and one picked by myself using stats and fixture analysis to help you choose the best players for the next 3 game weeks. And as always, I'm leaving out the premium players like Salah and Haaland as they're just givens and obvious picks. So it's defenders to start, and Fantasy Football Hub have picked Calafiore. He's predicted to score 13.9 points over the next 3 game weeks, which is the second highest among defenders behind only Gabriel. Arsenal remain the most consistent defensive side in the league. Only Newcastle rank higher than them, but Arsenal's stability is unmatched. They've been the most consistent side for the last couple of seasons defensively. 3 clean sheets out of 5 so far this season. With an expected goals conceded of just 0.5, that's under a goal a game, and Arsenal have really strong fixtures on paper with West Ham at home, Fulham away and Crystal Palace at home. However, my concerns on Calafiore are the competition for fullback spots. Arsenal have Ben White, they got Timber, Lewis Skelly, meaning Calafiore could easily be rotated. With the amount of competition they have in those places and the amount of competitions they're going to be in, Arsenal are going to be looking to win a cup competition, win the league. They're going to go deep into these competitions, so that means that there's going to be rotation constantly with these fullbacks. I personally would go for more steady picks if you want an Arsenal defender. My pick would be Gabriel. I've got him in my team. You can also go for Saliba. If you go for Gabriel, you're getting clean sheets and you're getting a better attacking threat. If you go Saliba, you're getting clean sheets and you're going to get more defensive contributions. It's just depending on what you want to go for out of those 2. The rest, whilst they're cheaper for a reason, right? And on top of that, he doesn't get many defensive contributions at only 0.10 per 90. His CBIT is only 4.69. And to date, he's not yet got any points for defensive contributions. So he's a great pick if he starts every week because he's going to get you clean sheets. He can get you a goal or an assist, similar to say Gabriel. However, he's just not as nailed as Gabriel. So if you can afford the extra 0.4 million, I would go for Gabriel. But my actual pick to compete with Calafiore, if you've already got Gabriel and you're looking for another defender, I would go for Dan Burn. Now, he was in my wildcard draft until the very last minute where I made the change and I went for Tarkowski, who was another good pick. Tarkowski is a defensive contribution monster. He's picked up defensive contributions in pretty much every game, if I'm not mistaken. That's an obvious pick, and I don't think his fixtures are right up there right now at the moment. In terms of the next 3 game weeks, the best fixtures and somebody who could get you clean sheets, he's going to get you defensive contributions, I'm going to go with Dan Burn. He's obviously a nailed starter. He's played all 5 games, playing 90 minutes each game. His expected goals conceded is just 0.52, which is even lower than Calafiore's. His predicted points are 12.9 over the next 3 game weeks, which is just 1 point below Calafiore's. And he's got decent fixtures as well. He's got Nottingham Forest at home, Brighton away, and Fulham at home. Nottingham Forest average just 0.83 goals per game, so less than a goal a game. Fulham do score over 1 goal per game, but they're yet to win away. And with Brighton, that's a tough fixture, but Newcastle are quite clearly a formidable team defensively. They've kept 4 clean sheets out of 5. And on top of that, Burn has recorded defensive contributions in 3 of the 5 matches. So he's an all-round defender. He's going to get you clean sheets. He's going to get you defensive contributions. Could be likely to pick up a double-digit haul at any point. And yeah, Newcastle are a really strong team. As I said, 4 clean sheets out of 5. They've got a 0.5 expected goals conceded rate, and that's 0.2 better off than Arsenal, who are the second best team defensively in the league. So yeah, really strong defensive side, Newcastle. And I expect Burn to pick up a number of points over the next 3. Moving on to midfield, and Fantasy Football Hub have picked Bruno Fernandes. He's got Sunderland at home, Liverpool away and Brighton at home, so you can see why he's been picked, especially with that Sunderland at home fixture. However, we're seeing how good Sunderland are, having just beaten Nottingham Forest 1-0. Bruno's predicted to score 17.6 points over the next 3 game weeks, which is the highest among midfielders outside of Salah. He's got 2 goals in 6 games so far, which is pretty underwhelming considering he could have had 4 had he not missed 2 penalties. He plays 90 minutes, is consistent, and as I mentioned, he's on penalties, though he's missed 2. Now, Because he's missed those two, could he be a potential risk? I think so. They've got Mbeumo waiting in the wings, who is a very good penalty taker. He was the penalty taker for Brentford. Could they pass the duty on to Mbeumo? And that makes Bruno a weaker option for a pick. He does have 0.6 big chances per game, but his creativity is pretty limited with the fact that he is now playing in a deeper role. He allows Cunha and Mbeumo to get forward and play those two number 10s. So yeah, Bruno's not getting forward as much. I've got him in my team. He was one that I said is a great pick because of the penalties, because of the defensive contributions that he does pick up from time to time. But with that penalty miss yesterday on Saturday, does that make him a worse pick? I think so. Let's see if United get another penalty. If Bruno steps up, he's still a great pick. If he doesn't, then I've seriously got to consider whether he should stay in my team. But my pick to go against Bruno is Saka. But if you don't own Semenyo, just go and get him. He's currently the best value midfielder in the game. He was Fantasy Football Hub's pick last week, and I can't argue with that. I couldn't argue with it at all. I said if you haven't got him, go get him. I added him into my wildcard. Yeah, he managed to pick up a goal against Leeds. So yeah, a really good pick. If you don't have him already, go get him. I believe he's 7.6 million now. Still a great price. Yeah, pick him up. But if you're looking for maybe someone to replace Bruno, then look no further than Saka. Saka's got West Ham at home, Fulham away, and Crystal Palace at home. 3 really good fixtures, 2 of them at home. For Saka's predicted, the points are 17.6 over the next 3 game weeks. He's got points per 90 of 4.79. His expected goal involvement is pretty low. However, I'm expecting that to rise in the coming weeks. Everything goes through Saka. He's Arsenal's talisman. Yeah, definitely a good pick if you want to go for him. The only downside is that it seems that Gyökeres has taken over on the penalty duties, but it remains to be seen. We don't know that yet because when Gyökeres took that penalty against Leeds, Saka wasn't on the pitch, so it's not confirmed yet. However, Arteta did say that Gyökeres is the best penalty taker in the team at the beginning of the season, so why wouldn't they pick Gyökeres for the penalty if Saka and Gyökeres are on the pitch? But don't let that put you off. Saka, we all know what Saka can do. He's a consistent performer, and the positive with Gyökeres being on the pitch, Gyökeres is that guy who's going to be in and around the area sniffing out a chance, and Saka last season averaged over 1 big chance created per game. So with somebody like Gyökeres in and around the area waiting for Saka to set him up, Saka could get some returns that way instead. And finally, with Madueke's sideline, Arsenal have little option but to play him if they want to keep pace with Liverpool. They're going for the league. They need their best players on the pitch. So I expect Saka to start most games. Maybe he'll come off 80 minutes, 75 minutes if the game's won, but he's going to predominantly play most of the games, and he's going to start most of the games because Arsenal can't afford to drop points. And finally, we're moving on to the strikers, and Fantasy Football Hub have picked Watkins. I mean, it's just blind faith at this point. Obviously, Watkins in form is a good pick at any point in the season. However, with underlying current circumstances of Villa being a poor side, they're not really showing much attacking threat. They managed to beat Bologna in the Europa League midweek. However, Watkins had a penalty and he missed it. And when I was watching that penalty and I was watching him step up, yeah, he didn't look confident. So I just don't see any reason why anybody would pick Watkins right now. Maybe they've got blind faith like the AI. He's cheap as well, 8.7 million for a player like that. If he's in form, it's a great pick, but his points per 90 are 2.03 so far. However, Fantasy Football Hub have him at predicted points of 17.3. There's such a massive deficit there. It's crazy. Yeah, I mean, his fixtures are great. Burnley at home, which is a good fixture. Burnley have an expected goals conceded of 2 per game. They just conceded 5 to Man City. So going away to Villa, you would expect something similar under normal circumstances, but as I said, Villa are currently underperforming. Watkins seems to have no confidence. So yeah, he's a complete avoid for me. And then finally, my pick for the forwards is Strand Larsen. Now, again, similar to the midfield pick that I chose with Saka. If you already have Gyökeres, then Strand Larsen is a great pick if you're looking for another striker. But if you don't have Gyökeres and you can get to him, then I would say go for Gyökeres, because as you saw with the Saka pick, Arsenal have great fixtures coming up, and I expect Gyökeres to be in and around the goals. So yeah, Gyökeres is my pick. However, I picked him last week, and I don't want to be just constantly picking the same player because that's boring. So I've had a look at the fixtures, and for me, Strand Larsen's fixtures stand out. He's got Brighton at home, Sunderland away, and then Burnley at home. Brighton have conceded 1.4 expected goals per game. That's the 7th worst in the league. And they've also just got 1 clean sheet all season. Sunderland away, that is a tough fixture. They're proving to be a really resilient side, but still it's a fixture that Wolves will see as one they can attack and potentially get points from, especially after their good performance against Tottenham away. And then again, Burnley at home. As I said in my previous pick, Burnley have conceded over 2 goals per game, and that was even before they conceded 5 goals against City. So yeah, that just goes to show how poor defensively they are. Shane Larson's almost certainly on penalties. Wolves haven't picked up a penalty yet, or if they have, Shane Larson hasn't been on the pitch because he's been injured. But I expect Shane Larson to be on penalties if he's on the pitch. And he managed to play 83 minutes against Spurs, showing he's back to full fitness after his layoff. So a good budget pick if you can't get to Gyökeres, or maybe you want to move away from one expensive striker to move funds elsewhere into your midfield or defense. That's my picks for game week 7 to 9, and we'll see in 3 weeks if I've managed to beat the Fantasy Football Hub AI. Who are your picks for game week 7? Drop them in the comments and I'll be sure to check them out. And if you want to see how the scores stack up, make sure to like, subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss that video.